Hello, YouTube.
Hello!
Kitty says hello too.
Meow. Right. Let us begin with, before we get further into it, today we're going to talk about Com+2, we're going to talk about Prizefighter, and if there's time, I thought we might talk about horses.
Okay.
A little bit about Africa, maybe. But first of all, the most awesome people in the world. Can you just turn around a moment? I just have to write a new name on here.
We haven't actually said who we are yet.
Oh, we could do, but these people are more important. They are Russell Higgins, Johnny Mangina, Mark Frelful, Umber, Brandon Fishwick, Dave Poirier, AJ, Fugue Enterprises, Nate Hanshin, Philip Bate, Elizabeth Chai Predictable, and now David Gaskin.
Thank you, David Gaskin.
Thank you to all the rest that Jayson overlooked.
But David Gaskin's a new patron.
He is indeed. We are Pear of Geeks. This is Pear of Geeks Live. And we have just completed, or a week ago, 24 hours, a record-breaking RPG prize giveaway.
I'm still kind of white.
I don't think I'll ever recover. Non-stop for 24 hours. Gosh. Hello to the chat. Hello, Scott Poe. Hello, Ronnie Bradley.
Hello, Chav Hunter.
You missing
Nice
people
to
off
see
again?
you. I'm emphasising as they appear. I'm so sorry that I'm keeping up with the times.
Talking of keeping up with the times, let's talk about something that's already happened. Com+2.
Com+2 happened last week.
We smashed the target.
Yes, we
You
did.
smashed the target.
Well,
Camera's
yeah.
there. You did it. We helped.
Yes.
Thank you. So, yes, well, there's no point, I think, especially as everybody we see in chat, actually, I do remember being at the convention, so we won't go over what Com+2 is. If you want to know that, have a look at the last video. It's 24 hours long. But I really enjoyed this year.
Yes, definite improvement to last year in many
Yeah.
different ways.
Well, we raised more money, but I remember last year, gosh, the early hours were really... Because we did midnight to midnight.
Yeah.
And that actually, in retrospect, means we had to be awake through 2 nights. That was actually really hard.
Yeah, and even though I kind of felt ill towards the end of this year, I still thought overall it was easier starting at midday and then going to midday, because the final stretch is like, it's light again, final bit.
Yeah, because you don't feel tired once the daylight comes back. Or I didn't. I mean, I know you were... But in fact, what wasn't explained on the stream is Jayson was actually ill before the stream.
Yes, okay.
Like, you were on antibiotics.
I was on antibiotics,
and
but
things, so.
the kind of the issue that caused me to say, okay, I'm going to call it, was more because I'd eaten something that didn't agree with me.
I still think it was just the antibiotics mixed with the stress and
combination
of that. I mean, they really do take it out of you, and I think you did fantastically to get as far as you did.
Why, thank you.
Will we all be at Dragon Meet? We did go last year, but
Yes.
I think this year...
Well, I certainly can't, because I am seeing one of my favourite bands for the first time in Birmingham.
Yeah, and so I won't be going alone with no camera person and stuff. Because our objective, if we go to cons now, is always to pick up sponsors for the next con. And so, yeah, we're not going to do that, because I don't want to be able to not do that. Anyway, right. So,
Hello, Michael B.
Hello, Michael B. Now, I just want to read out. We had a message from the charity.
Oh my goodness.
That I think everyone watching is just about still alive. But I think everyone watching, because like they earned this too.
Yeah,
So,
because the thing is, when you're doing the convention, whether you're watching or whether it's sitting on the other side of the camera, you're kind of in the heat of it, and you get into the rhythm of, okay, here's the next prize, and we give it away, and you're donating to buff up and da-da-da. But then actually seeing that is like the perspective comes back.
And we showed the picture during the convention itself, where they'd actually painted up a wall in the school with like the Com+2 logo and stuff. That was pretty awesome.
I nearly cried.
But this message we got from the founder of the charity after the event. It says, "Thank you to Becky and Jayson and Lloyd for putting together such a fun event. We at the Butterfly Project feel humbled that so many wanted to contribute to our project, which is now in its 10th year. We never expected as much money as was raised, nor was I expecting our kids here in Uganda to warm to the whole project so much. So many are asking now when we are next going to do the Adventurers League or the Pathfinder campaigns we've been running this year. Unbeknownst to many, we ran something like 12 RPG sessions here in Kampala over the weekend. So for us too, the weekend passed like lightning. Also, what a brilliant programme the Prize Fighter was and is. Our kids were cheering the Butterfly Tiger most of Saturday night. We really appreciate the money that has been raised and also the prizes that our Prize Fighter managed to win. Thanks again for such a memorable weekend, and I look forward to being part of making next year's event even better. So it was really nice to get that message there. Hello, F. Aaron Carthy.
Hello.
Well, for ages there, I thought you were invisible. All I could see was your cushions.
Well, they are damn good cushions, but yeah, I made a boo-boo and thought I'd gone to preview mode, but actually the video went live for like 10 seconds, so...
Yes, and he tried to hide that little secret from me. I had to interrogate him, put him in the chair, get the light on his face.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
So yeah, I mean, it was great. Now, on the subject of prizes, we have now sent out the first couple of people have got prizes, and we're starting to work our way through the 350 prizes we've got to sort out.
Yes.
Now, mostly, there are two kind of funnels for prizes. There's the stuff that the sponsors send, which we group by sponsor. So as we contact each sponsor and give them the details, so any sort of electronic prize is most likely to come from the sponsor. There's a couple of exceptions.
Yeah.
So you'll be getting those piecemeal. But then the postal prizes, they will be distributed over a period of time, because on top of everything else, got to get a new car this month. So and obviously with Christmas coming and everything else, so because we pay for that ourselves with the help of our wonderful Patreons. Thank you very much.
Thank
Russell
you,
Higgins, Johnny
patrons.
Mangiana, Mark Prelful, Lomba, Brandon Fishwick, Dave Poirier, AJ Fugue Enterprises, Nate Hanson, Philip Bate, Elizabeth Chambers, Dick Cullen, David Gaskin.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you guys for helping pay for that postage. Now, Prize Fighter, we were really pleased at how well that was received. So we have been working on something which we're going to show you tonight. A little preview.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of rested, but you hopped straight back onto your computer and was like, no, I've got some ideas. I must implement them right now. And I'm like, okay.
Because like Prize Fighter was, I mean, it was everything I hoped it could be.
Yes.
I wanted it to work. I didn't know if it would. And going into the convention, we didn't know, even as we started the telethon, if we'd still be using Prize Fighter at the end. Yeah,
true. I think, for me, I knew it would work, as in the audience would be attracted to it, because, you know, it was inspired by something that genuinely does work on like Twitch and stuff. But I was most worried with, okay, is there going to be enough people to actually take part in it? And also, as you said, you know, is it going to keep on technically working, or are we going to have to stop it, which would be, dire.
I wasn't sure if people would get into it as much as they did, and, you know, would it succeed as a mechanism? And, you know, ultimately, as I said during the convention, it was a prototype. It was based on some very old code. That most of that 3D engine was 10 years old.
Yeah.
Actually, I looked at the date the other day. It was 8 years. Which is a very long time. That's like 2 generations of computers ago. So yeah, it was very crude. And as we sort of when we look back at the technical problems we had, though, apart from one dodgy line of code in the donation system, every problem we had came down to the fact that the server couldn't cope with the traffic. It was too successful.
The bloody server.
Yeah. So next year we have to get a bigger server. That's all there is to it. But all the little teething issues we had when tens and tens of thousands of new lines of code hit at once, but the only issues were to do with it being too successful.
Yeah. Which is, you know, best case scenario, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
If something's not working because it's too successful.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But it still kind of worked. We muddled through, and we managed to patch the issues mostly out.
Messy.
And the problems were barely noticeable once we got a handle on it. Because the first few fights were a bit slow to start up, but
yeah,
once we got past those, we got a handle on it.
Yeah,
and
there were
went well.
a few avatars that we forgot to update, which confused people. But
yeah, it pretty much worked. Anyway, I've been working on its replacement, its successor,
2.0.
Yes, Prize Fighter 2, and I can actually bring that up on screen right now. But to do it, I kind of have to move the chat onto this screen over here, which means we won't be able to read it. Okay, but here is Prize Fighter 2.0. It's a work in progress, so you can see a little bit of it right now. So the first thing you'll notice is that we have a brand new arena, and the graphics are a lot more modern. And you may notice there's a lot more than 10 prize fighters in the arena. We don't know yet exactly what the limit will be when it's finished, and you might now be noticing that there is a lighting engine, shadows just moved across, and we're now in nighttime. So during the actual Con Plus 3, we're actually going to make the day-night cycle follow our day-night, which I thought would be pretty cool. You notice, we've got these lovely fires in the middle to keep it lit at night, which was a nightmare because 4 light sources in the scene is kind of intensive on the processor. But we've got a lot more than 10 avatars at the moment. This is running really sweet on your computer, which is nice to see.
It is, isn't it?
You might also notice that the metal is shiny. So I've done work on the graphics. I've improved them. There's the same fundamental models, but I think it looks a lot more realistic now compared to before. And also the textures, they're a bit higher quality. I can actually make them a lot higher quality, but I won't be doing that until nearer the end, and I decide how much processor capacity we've got left over. Because although we run it on your computer, I develop it on mine, and mine is not powerful enough to run the high-res textures.
No.
Now, somewhere in here, hopefully, no, don't see it. Okay, what I'll do is I'll do the intro. I'm going to refresh it, and I'll kind of do the intro again, because
we have something else.
Yeah, there's something else, so bear with me while it reloads. Because I'm hoping next year, actually, that we don't particularly need to reload it very often as well. That we'll just be able to go from one fight straight to the next. So just give that a moment to it does actually take a little longer to load than the old one. But there's a lot more going on. So this is just going to be a little bit jerky at first while it sorts itself out. And then...
Wait for it.
Now, we should have... Just sorting itself out. Don't tell me I didn't set the scene up with it in.
No, I don't think you did. Although you did send it to me.
Oh, blast.
But no,
there it is. Right. Things are loading.
Right, yeah, okay.
Things are loading.
I thought you meant the other thing.
Oh, no, I know how to do that.
Okay,
that's
right.
Sort of, I didn't realise things were still loading. So you see, things are actually appearing whilst we're looking.
Yeah, all the polygons.
There's a little bit of issue on the animation here that I've still got to fix, but you'll notice one of the new things is horses. You'll be able to get horses and charge people down, which I'm really looking forward to. And they do actually already, as you can see, navigate around obstacles.
They go right up to them, though.
It depends
first before
which obstacle, but they do actually calculate a path around the arena. Because like if we watch them fanning out here, you'll see that like these guys are going in between, the other guys are walking around.
Mm-hmm.
So they're actually pathing correctly. But see, once we got all of this set up, and I realised, right, okay, look, we've got this lovely Colosseum backdrop, which feels more appropriate. And that's really cool. But there's one thing that everybody kind of knows, this little fact that they did with the Colosseum, and they did it for the launch ceremony, and they did it a few years later.
I didn't know.
It was Emperor Titus who did it first. They flooded the Colosseum, and they did naval battles. And, they actually did that inside the Colosseum, and I thought, that has never been done in popular culture. Why not? So, and I'm just going to have to... I do have to reload it for this, so... why not have naval battles? So give me just a moment more whilst that reloads.
Drum roll.
Yeah. Anticipation broken by the fact it takes a little while to load.
Yeah, but it'll be worth it, seriously.
Site can't be reached. Okay, it's sorted itself out.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the very beginning of naval battles. So what we're going to have here is I'm going to split the contestants up on between the two boats. They'll archery each other, and then eventually the boats will come together. At the moment, they'll just go through each other. They haven't got as far as doing that work, but the boats will come together, and then whichever side's got the most people left on the boat, they will literally jump across from one boat to the other.
I've just thought of something. Did you say archers?
Yes.
Can they have, like, flame arrows on them?
This is something I'm thinking of doing. The thing is, the fire effect can use up a bit of processing time. So it's something I want to do, but I didn't want to promise yet. But I'd very much love it to be possible for a boat to catch fire and go under, especially as if you think about this arena, what can I do here for the arena champion? They can't possibly be part of this scene if we use existing arena champions. We've got to do something new.
Yeah.
And on the naval battle in particular, I thought, well, doing something underwater, you can't see it. Like, if I had a kraken with tentacles coming up, you'd see the tentacles, but you'd never really see the kraken.
Yeah.
So you want it to be seen. So I thought, well, if I can't go under the water, maybe I should go over the water. And then I thought, well, the obvious thing then is for the arena champion to be a dragon. Mm-hmm. So I thought in the naval battles, maybe a dragon comes in and breathes some fire around, and and then absolutely I want boats to catch fire. So that's something I want to do, but of course I can't promise it yet because it isn't done yet. All I can promise is exactly what you see, but it's not finished. So that's something I'd very much like to do. But yeah, that's Prize Fighter 2.0 in development. So
I think, judging from the chat, people are liking it.
Oops, I've just messed the chat up. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm working on it. There we go. Now we can read it again. So
hello, Scott Poe.
There was a retracted message.
Ooh.
How would that work if it's a battle royale? Was that the naval thing?
Presumably, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully I've explained that now. If not, feel free to sort of ask again. Yes, Beholder could be neat, couldn't it? Mm-hmm. One of the things we found with the monsters is that they were kind of too popular, and I made them tier 1. And my original thinking was that, okay, if you go up loads of tiers, you're powerful and everything else, and that's cool. But if you can't go up loads of tiers because you can't afford to, because you're still valuable to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We still want you on the stream. You're not going to win as often, can't help that.
Unless you're Chav Hunter, apparently.
Right. We still want you on the stream. We still want you taking part because your chat helps promote. So, we absolutely want those people to still be there. So I did some silly little monsters. On the night the goblin didn't work, but we just said, okay, that's an invisible man. But we want you there. So I thought I'll do these silly little monsters. But they were kind of really popular. People wanted to see what different monsters they could get.
Which I honestly didn't think it would be so popular, that people wanted to be monsters. I thought people might be averse to playing them because they're bad or something.
Yeah, but no,
like, oh my god, monsters! I want to be a monster.
Yeah, so some people deliberately ran themselves down to a low tier just to be monsters. Yeah. So what we wanted to do was to have the option of high tier monsters, which previously I disabled from the code. I mean, I had them, but I took them out. I didn't incorporate them because I thought no. Because all the monsters are sort of low tier just to keep interest. So now clearly we need to do high tier monsters. So yes, Beholder is a possibility. Won't be a Beholder, of course, because that is a property of Wizards of the Coast. So we'll have to do our own thing. an eye holder or something.
Medusa blob.
The model I've got has wings. It's wings around an eyeball.
Okay. So it's a winged 8-ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the basilisk does wreck the place. That
I
one
was
really.
so surprised that it petrified the butterfly project so frequently.
Well, I think that only happened once.
No, it happened
Or
more
maybe
than
it happened
once.
twice.
Definitely happened more than
There
once.
was only one fight where the basilisk really caused carnage because it is a random proc, and there
Yeah,
was one
yeah.
fight where the basilisk kind of, I think it won actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Or very close to.
I think it did because we did see a donkey.
Yes, there was a donkey.
So yeah, oops, it's just random chance. What can you do? So but anyway, those are the plans for Prizefighter 2. I'm really excited about it. I've been kind of working hard on it this week, and I think there was I'm not sure if there was a second win. I think there was a time when the Basilisk got very close to winning a second.
The demon won once, I believe.
Yes, I think it did. So we've got suggestions coming in for the names of the beholder. The Basia.
The floating cyclops mouth? Well, it floats, slash flies, and it has a big
fly
eye.
ball.
A fly ball, yeah.
That's it, because it's an eyeball, but it flies. It's a fly ball.
Okay, a fly ball. Sounds really threatening, that. Little fly ball.
Oh, groan. Cornealus.
Oh my god.
Cornealius.
Oh, speaking of like Roman stuff as well, so I was suggesting that we put Romans Go Home in Latin around the Colosseum if we want to carry on the Monty Python joke thing.
I might try and squeeze it in somewhere.
Yeah,
100
it's
times.
like a little Easter
How many
egg.
times did he have to do it?
He had to do it 100 times.
100 times. That is a lot of splat textures.
Yeah.
We'll see. What's
Now
it? A basil holder.
Hello, McRoberts.
9 petrified eyes pointed in every. So a basilisk beholder. The basilisk has grown in stature now, I think.
Totally. Game over,
People
man.
fear the basilisk.
It's game over, man.
What I might have to do with the basilisk is make the proc more frequent and make it a higher tier monster.
Wow. I think you just made the new Tarask.
Yeah.
That sounds terrifying.
What if one of the potions you can get in the store is a stone solvent thing?
Antidote,
Dissolvent.
yeah.
Yeah. Just saying.
Well,
happen.
we haven't really explained that yet about the potions and your ideas for classes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're not fully formed yet in terms of ideas,
No,
but I wanted people to like, one of the things that was asked for was people wanted to be able to do cosmetic choices, like say choose a model or something like that. And one of the things I want to do this year is I actually want to have less models. Purely for technical reasons. I want the models that we've got to look prettier.
Yeah.
And I've kind of all the ones that were holding breadsticks, or the wooden truncheon that got called breadstick on the night.
What was so funny was we kept calling them breadsticks so much that people were genuinely coming in saying, "Are they using breadsticks?" Like, yes,
No.
they are.
No, it was a wooden truncheon. But I've got rid of all those models. They didn't look as
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I mean, I could bring them in, but the thing is, because of the old prize fighter and the way that was set up, they don't look like gladiator material.
No,
We've got a
exactly.
Colosseum now.
Yeah, you got to actually look like you're gonna succeed at least a bit.
So I got rid of those for now, and and I've also currently I haven't brought across the tier 5 guys. And one of the main reasons for that is they are not animated in the same way as the others.
Yes.
And I want to do a lot more with the animation. So I want to see a lot more of the animation when the guys are fighting. So make it more powery and stuff like this. And the models that have a different animation rig are a huge issue with that, because that is an immense amount of work for one person to do. So I was going to kind of maybe drop those models, and then, which gives us a lot less models to actually work with. But I still think it's very doable. So what I wanted to do is, if I can't give much flexibility in terms of the visual aesthetic, maybe what I can do is still get people attached to their gladiator by giving them an actual character sheet. Like, and having gladiators they could choose from in their gladiator school. I need to look up the Roman word for that, because there is a word that they have for like a dojo type thing, but in Rome. But anyway, like, you could actually, what I want to do is say you actually hire a gladiator, and then it has stats, and you choose their weapon combination. I want to see a lot more shields in the arena, because I think the animations will work better with shields. But you choose the combination of weapons that they have, and that's what you can choose. That's your cosmetic thing, will be in the weapons, rather than in the so much the model, which of course is tied to your tier. So you're sufficiently late that you might want to go back and watch the start of this video afterwards, because there's a preview of Prize Fighter 2 that I'm hoping will blow you away. Maybe we'll get that back out again in a second.
Yeah. Also, hello, Steve.
Hello, yes. Yeah, we smashed the target. I'm just kind of reading Ronnie's thing. I really should do a video on it, actually, after having done 2 today. But yeah, I think it went well. Place that they enjoyed
he's talking about his horror game,
his horror game, yeah.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Yeah, from what I heard, it sounded good.
Caserma dei Gladiatori.
I'm sure they used a shorter term in that Spartacus series. There was a name they had, and I don't know how appropriate the name is, but yes, because that's a bit of a mouthful. Murder Pit.
Murder Pit, yeah.
That'll do it. So, yeah, I wanted to do that. You know, and I'll make a few other enhancements as well. As I'd quite like to put the odd magic item in and things like that, because I think it would be cool. If I get the time to do that, and of course with the new graphics engine there's the opportunity to do a lot more visual stuff, so I thought maybe mages, you could actually select the spells in their spell book and we might actually see that.
Ludus.
Thank you, that's it, a Ludus.
Ludus Magnus, Ludus Dacicus.
Can we just go for Ludus?
Well, those were like names of specific ludi.
Yes, so you make your own ludi, and hire your gladiators, choose the one you want in the fight and stuff, and that'll be, and so you can get sort of attach your gladi, give them the weapons you want, and then
potions as well.
Yeah, there'll be potions. We might do rather than just having healing potions, might offer a few different ones. So you can actually do a kind of a loadout and make it your gladiator your own. Give them a bit of a unique flair.
Yeah. We're going to do more, I believe you said, with mages as well, in that you're not just going to randomly be a mage. If you want to be a mage, again, you can choose that and buff them up and give them more spells. You'll be able to build their spell book.
Yeah, that's my hope for them. And really, it's just about making your gladiator yours, an individual. What I'd love to be able to do, and I'm not sure I can yet, but I'd love to have like several different AIs. So you could have like a cautious AI, aggressive AI. You said that, so if I can do that, I definitely will, because then when you're hiring them and you look at the stats, but you also have to look at their personality and go, okay, but that's a cautious one. Cautious ones, they don't do well at the naval start, or something like that. You can sort of make decisions, as it were, but it still needs to be utterly accessible for somebody who doesn't go to the prizefighter back end.
Did the Romans ride on sort of more predatory animals like bears or lions?
I know where this is going, and I'm not doing it yet.
Because I just suddenly envisaged everyone's going to get the horses and they're going to run around and and I thought, hold on a minute.
Here's the thing, in the real world, animals that are rideable is actually really limited. It's like horse and camel.
Okay.
Because it's not just having, like, zebras, for example, don't have the temperament.
No.
but a lot of creatures don't have the spine for it, and I think there's another thing as well that kind of determines, whether a horse is good whether an animal is good to be ridden or not, which I forget. There's a whole science behind it, and basically it's horse and camel.
Scott Post says, "How about a moose?"
I'm not getting models for all this stuff. What I think you will see though, because this is a Colosseum, and maybe I mentioned maybe we should get Prize Fighter 2 up again.
Yes.
I'll just take this out.
Hint, hint, Fiuk, are you listening?
Yes. Pay attention now, because you're about to see something. So if I just, it's still loading, but if I just, for some reason it's not showing the flaming fire pits.
Just give it a minute.
Not quite sure what's going on. Anyway.
There we go.
Oh, right, yeah, flaming fire pits. Awesome. Now you notice there's these grates here in the side of the Colosseum, and there's 4 of them. So my thinking with these is that this is where things like lions come out, and other little nasties that come to eat your gladiators. So I'll just set this up here so Fiuk can go ooh. So my thinking now is, instead of having an arena champion that's a tiger that utterly shouldn't be here, instead we get all sorts of African animals. Like they might not all come out of that door. I might have to make some of the bigger ones come out of this other door over here. So, simply because those side grates are a bit too small. But my thinking is, like, we get lots of different African animals that represent the arena, as it were, or represent the charity. So there might be as many as 4 at once in the arena.
Yeah.
And I think that might be necessary, given that we want to include a lot more gladiators in the arena. So it may be needed to have more than one. And just for the benefit of Fiuk and the other latecomers,
here is the other setting.
The other arena that I'm working on. But for full details, you'll have to re-watch the video.
Basically, this was a real thing in Rome under Titus, where they thought, yeah, let's do naval battles and flood the Colosseum and shit.
They actually did it for the grand opening of the Colosseum. It had actually been done before they built the Colosseum. It happened a couple of times. Caesar was one of the first to do it, or may have even been the first. He built a basin next to the river Tiber, and they had a mock battle in there.
Oh, right.
And then there was a couple of other emperors that sort of did similar events as well. I don't know who was the first, but it was Titus was the emperor who opened the Colosseum. He didn't begin building it; it already started. And on the opening, they did indeed flood the Colosseum, and they had scaled down warships that were kind of shallow.
Yeah.
And they fought and stuff like that. So yes, that's what we're doing.
Fiuk, no, you're not a failure. Don't be silly.
Becky, will you do a Colosseum video? I was in a Pear of Geeks history video on the Colosseum, but I think to film that, we'd actually have to go there.
Yeah.
And I think the problem there is, I gather it's often full of tourists. It would be very difficult for us to get actual...
They probably wouldn't let us film in there anyway. They'd insist we get, like, official pictures. If it's anything like, I don't know, Notre Dame and stuff, it's like...
Yeah, I don't know if our YouTube channel is actually big enough to have the clout necessary for that.
No.
Odd little unknown English country houses, yes. Something like the Colosseum, the most famous landmark in Italy. Maybe not. So yeah, I'd love to. I think, although really, it's the only thing in Italy that I actually find like I'd want to go and see. Maybe Venice, actually.
Well, I performed in the Basilica di San Marco.
Okay.
There was lots of gold in there, like
I can imagine.
Useless amounts of gold.
But I'm not inspired as a tourist to go and want to see that. Anyway, that's a completely different topic.
It smells quite nice in there, though.
So, what about Com+3? Obviously, we've talked quite a bit about Prize Fighter, but what else? because it's kind of a bit early in terms of sponsors. Obviously, we haven't really begun that process yet.
No.
And we're going to less things this year to pick up sponsors, and I think we already know we have to have less next year.
Yeah, I mean, I was suggesting we don't go to Aircon because it's quite close to the wedding, but we've not 100% said either way.
Not an aircon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
probably not, because wedding, and
Yeah.
for us that's going to be first. And also, we know we can't post as many prizes next year. We already know that. We haven't yet faced the issue of posting this year's prizes in terms of what it's actually going to cost us. So please support us on Patreon. It's what pays for the postage. Please help. So when we face that hurdle, then we'll have a better idea of what we can realistically achieve next year in terms of how the physical prizes. But I've had a look through where winners are located, and we do have a lot of winners in the States. Thankfully, some of the heavier things were won by people in the UK. No boxes to send to New Zealand this year.
No.
So we'll see how it goes. Please, yes. But no, thank you for any donation you can give to us, as well as to the charity.
Only give anything if you are able to.
But yeah, no. So we're currently, as I say, we're about to start the whole shipping process. We've already done the first couple.
Yeah.
So things are beginning to happen, but it will be over a longer period. I mean, last time we did most of it in the first week or two. And then there was a few people that had to wait for the next payday. But I think this year we already know we're going to stretch it out a bit more.
Yeah.
Just to make it easier for us financially. And so, but I think we already know, like, one of the things we found during the night this year was there was a number of times we were doing giveaways for 10 of. And I think, one of the things about that is, I think we need to move through the sponsors faster. Like, if you give 10 of something away with Prize Fighter, it takes a little while. And that's a long time on one sponsor. And, usually the things that are 10 of are the electronic prizes, and in some ways the less desirable.
Well, yeah,
depending on which prize it is.
Well, I was going to say, some of them I would have loved to have had, like Sirenscape subscriptions and stuff.
Definitely, and UGM and World Anvil and all those other fantastic prizes. But then we also had small vouchers.
Yes,
and there were some bigger vouchers which were great, but we also had small vouchers, or a little known PDF or something. Yeah. We don't really want to be giving away 10 of those. So keep saying 10 of giveaways need to be where more people are active than at night, in my opinion, for the record. Well, the problem is the time it takes with Prize Fighter doesn't change depending on how many people are entering.
No.
One of the good things was that it actually meant people who don't often get to enter are able to enter.
Yeah.
But so I think this year it was kind of fine where they are. And also, like, we try to do it so that through the night we're really busy with giveaways, because it's easier for us when we're really tired to just continually give things away than if we go to a videotape and we've got 20 minutes and we don't need a break, or we don't want to fall asleep accidentally, is my point. So we try to keep ourselves busier in the night. So things like in any sort of 10 of giveaways we this year we did during the night, so it would force us to be awake and focused longer. But I think with Prize Fighter, doesn't matter when you do it, you're always going to be taking a lot longer to give 10 things away. And I think it gives a lot of time on one sponsor when, like, there were sponsors toward the end, like Kakapopo. We just didn't have time to give all their things away. So, I gave a few things away to I just sort of said, right, I'm going to send these 2 to the Butterfly Project. Modifius, we gave 7 of they gave quite a large voucher, but 7 of them we just said, right, let's put them to the Hall of Fame. which originally wasn't going to have a prize. It's just going to be you're mentioned on the website for the year. But we just didn't have time.
No.
So, and then ultimately, they only got the 3 giveaways, and then really they didn't have a lot of time at all. So, they didn't really get much airtime as a consequence. So I think what I really want to do next year is 5 obs.
That was another thing as well, especially for the kind of 10 prizes, quite a lot of those didn't have an interview with them. But because there were 10, that meant we had to go through them really quite quickly, which meant we couldn't really talk about the product that much. So it meant, right, we're giving this thing away. Here you go. But maybe people want to know more about it, but we just didn't have time to talk about it as much. So
let's catch up a little on chat. So your YouTube Dibbly Doo doesn't have a link to a Patreon PayPal. Indeed.
Sorry.
So it's patreon.com/Pear of Geeks as one word. So yeah, hopefully somebody will put that in the chat for us, or I can put it in the chat.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Well volunteered. Michael B says, as an idea, maybe for those with 5 or more, you give away to top 2 or 3 finalists in the prize fighter.
Sorry, I was sorry. Say again.
As an idea, maybe for those with 5 or more prizes, you give away to the top 2 or 3 finalists in the prize fighter.
We could take that approach.
That was a suggestion that kind of floated around because obviously for this prize fighter, we had to do 1 prize per fight.
Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't coded to support anything else.
Yeah.
We could do that differently this year, but one of the things I want to do, if I just bring up the visual again, so what we want to do is we want to do the fights in quick succession, and you'll notice that over here, we have a gold throne.
With glow-in-the-dark golden eagles.
That's the metallic effect just catching the light
I know.
And over here we have this kind of platform, and if the arena's not full of water, it actually looks a bit more like a raised platform. But the water level has sort of made it look a bit more minimal. So on that raised platform opposite the throne I want to put the winner of the previous fights, because we want to do like 5 in quick succession.
Yeah.
So the goal there isn't so much, because the other thing is, let's say we have 20 people in the arena next time. I mean, we might be able to get more in, but I think for gameplay purposes, we might actually not want more than 20, because 10 worked very well, and I think if we changed it to 50, I mean, what's that going to do to commentary? People won't see themselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that people see themselves. They want to see their gladiator having a bit of a fight, and the more we have in there, the less likely they are to see themselves. Even though we're including more people, that's a very difficult balance to get right. And 10 definitely worked. It's just that we know we lost people who weren't getting on the stream. So anyway, what I want to do is have the winners of the previous fights that are frozen out of the further giveaways appearing on that platform.
Yes, look at me, I won the last fight.
The throne thing, I was toying with the idea because I've got, I could have a character sit down and stuff, but I wanted to do like a thumb up, thumb down thing, but I haven't found the right mechanic for it yet. So I'd like to get some kind of player voting going in, but then I thought, one of the problems with player voting, if we go back to Con Plus 1, is the chat filled up with lots of, in Con Plus 1 it was dice rolls.
Yeah.
Chat filled up with numbers, so there was less conversation. The numbers kind of ruined the conversation, so you don't want that happening.
But also, because we were out of sync a little bit, that could mean if people are voting, we won't necessarily get as many in as we'd like.
Like, we try to do the streams on low latency, so that you get the chat comes through quite quick, but that's still about 8 to 10 seconds. And one of the problems we have at the convention with that, you might have noticed, and I don't know if it's happened tonight or not, but the audio went out of sync with the video.
Yeah.
And that is more likely to happen on lower latency. And, if it is happening, let us know, and we can experiment with trying to fix it. Well, yes, so Fuchs saying you won something while zoned out, so that could be an issue. And certainly, I've spoken to other winners that won things after they'd said goodbye, but that's always going to happen.
Yeah.
You've been
But
active in the chat.
That's a fair point with voting as well, which I thought about, is that there's always the issue of, okay, you've got somebody who's the centre of attention or has won something, but then they've fallen asleep or they've zoned out or their internet's crashed and suddenly they can't vote. You know, there's that issue, and then suddenly everything stops and you have to wait for that person.
Yeah, which you can't do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So, yeah, it's. I'd like to do a thumb up, thumb down thing, and maybe we could do an automated thing or something. You know, maybe it could be like an NPC decides a thumb up, thumb down.
I did wonder about the Butterfly Project deciding.
Yeah, or maybe a general mood could be taken. We could maybe run chat through some kind of machine learning algorithm and it decides something. Or, I mean, there are all sorts of things that could be done, but I still don't really know what.
Yeah, yeah.
I just think is it really a Colosseum unless there's somebody doing thumb up, thumb down. But here's an interesting historical fact that I'd put into a Colosseum video. Thumb up, sparing the gladiator. Thumb down, killing them. That's Hollywood. It's actually the other way round.
Apparently.
Because the signal is to the gladiator as to whether to kill them. Yes, kill them. No, don't. It's Hollywood got it wrong. And it's caught on. So there we go. I can't make a Colosseum video, but I can still include the facts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, that's we kind of ended up talking about Prize Fighter again now. We're talking about the con.
So it's still the con, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
We're talking about the future Prize Fighter for Con +3.
Yeah. But yes, I think that we already kind of know there has to be less prizes next year because we couldn't give everything away this year. Yeah. Even if we make the fights faster, which if we've got more people in, we kind of don't really want to do.
Mm.
I'm glad you're pleased you've got the Widdingwood set and that you're happy about it because Ollie is a really lovely guy. So, and I hope he's back next year as a sponsor as well. Yeah, where was I going? Yeah, we can't give, like, giving away 350 things in one stream turns out to not quite be possible.
No.
And if we want more people in the fight, I think the fight does need to take slightly longer, but I think it still, would be better. So yeah, just reading the chat and people are hyped still. That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I know. It's good.
Got to keep you hyped, showing you bits of Prize Fighter all year now.
Yes.
I can't wait. Oh, I've got the bit done where the boats come together and the people jump across because that'll be awesome visuals.
Yes, that'd be very cool. Ryan's looking forward to Campaign Cartographer.
Yeah, that's a little bit jealous. I want to play with that one. So yeah, no, that's where it's up to. Now, I did hint that we might have other topics to talk about tonight. Because something has been bothering me for a long time. It came up in our last campaign when Phil was GMing. And it's the topic...
Oh, that, yes. Yes, you're right.
Ah, do you know what I'm going to say?
I think so. Was it the... Oh yeah, do we have horses or did we leave them behind? Oh, we need to take them across a ferry. General maintenance. Kind of reminds me of the familiar problem in that the wizard always forgets they've got a familiar, or druid forgets. Or something.
Yeah, and the you mean the saber-tooth tiger was with us the whole time?
Yes.
Even when we were talking to the king? Yes, it is kind of that old problem, but also specifically the point I wanted to bring up though wasn't so much the people forgetting they got horses or achieving some going over some mountain precipice where the horse couldn't survive, but still it's on their character sheet, anything like that.
Yeah.
No, the specific point I want to raise was, and again I'm going to look back to history here as I always do. I think we're too attached to our horses. Like, you'll get a character as well, I buy a war horse, or I buy a pack horse and stuff like this. But you look back at history, quite often, a horse is, you owned a horse didn't necessarily mean, depending, right, but didn't necessarily mean you owned a specific horse.
Okay.
Right, because, particularly if you're in any kind of public service role, and sometimes adventurers are, you own or you have a horse. You go to, the way stations, and the public has the inns on the big roads, and you can swap horses. You bring your tied horse in, you pick up a fresh horse, you head off. Not every horse is necessarily, we can do this in our world building. Horses don't necessarily have to be attached to the character in a kind of a permanent way. And that really has to come through in your world building if the players are to take advantage of it. And I think it does solve some problems at the table with horses.
Yeah.
But also, why only horses? I did a whole video on this before, but why only horses? Because there are all sorts of different things you could have as riding animals. We were talking about it a moment ago, that, all right, in our world it's really just horses and camels, but that doesn't mean you can't have kangaroos and zebras and everything else.
Ostriches, elephants.
Because it's fantasy.
Yeah, with that.
Right, let's catch up or find out where the chat is at. Wish I could do more to help Lloyd and you guys. You know what? Taking part is kind of enough. But also, thank you for your support there. But also, the most important thing with Con Plus is helping to raise awareness, and your testimonial as people who came and enjoyed the convention is worth more than any post I could write. Because if it comes from somebody who genuinely attends and enjoys the convention, then it will mean a lot more to somebody else reading it. And the difference is all in that for the people reading it, when they say I go to this convention and I have a lot of fun and this happens and that happens, who else is going, kind of thing, is just, it's better than anything I can write. And I can't write that kind of thing in any honesty, because I'm a host. Neither can Jayson. We organise this thing. If we pretend to be attendees, this is it. We are biased. And that is the most help anyone can give, is to be genuine and honest about the fun you have and tell people about it. So, yeah, that's how you can help more. So, people get attached to their pets. I suppose they do, and, kind of like that. Certainly there's characters I've had where I've named my horse. Well, the horse has had character as a consequence.
Yeah, the difference is, does a horse count as a pet in this sort of world, or is it more functional?
Yeah, it's kind of a tool, isn't it? Swap the lame horse. Yes, the exhausted horse. Absolutely.
Well, I was wondering that, because surely if you're travelling, sort of Lord of the Rings scale travel, a horse would not be able to go all the way, surely.
Well, here's the thing I didn't understand with Lord of the Rings. They've definitely got cavalry, and yet nobody that travels anywhere seems to use a horse.
No, the only time there were horses for individuals. Like Gandalf used a horse to gallop all the way from the Shire to Gondor, which is takes months. There was a couple of other people on horses.
I swear they had them at the start of The Hobbit, and I don't remember what happened to them.
No.
Was it going through
there was a horse with the Fellowship, but then they sent the horse away.
Yeah,
in Moria.
That was Moria. Yeah. But why did they never pick up another horse?
I don't know, but then if you're talking Lord of the Rings and horses,
I mean, they had kings and princes with them. They could definitely afford to buy a horse from a halfway house or something.
But also, one of the scenes I mock, whether it's continuity error or just effect, is the Black Gate scene, where the main characters all ride up on horses and greet the mouth of Sauron and do that bit, and then they go back, and then it cuts to another scene, comes back, suddenly no horses anywhere. They run towards everybody. It's like, why have you got off your horse? Surely you'd run towards them and gallop. I don't know.
Right. Ronnie says different strains and... Oh, right. This is a conversation going between those two.
Yes.
Didn't some cultures ride...
The effalumps.
Yes, of course. I forgot to mention elephants in the list of rideable animals. Are you biased? Well...
No. Not compared to us, anyway.
No, not compared to people who organise the convention.
No. Like, you can have people who are, say, regulars to something. Like, we would call you a regular to the stream and patron and blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, you tune in regularly and you enjoy our content. But you get that at anything. You get it at real-life conventions. You get it in restaurants and pubs and stuff. But it doesn't mean that your opinion is less valuable. It's just maybe a bit different from somebody who comes in, you know, for the first time at face value.
And somebody's pointing out that, you know, donkeys can be ridden as well, but
yes,
really donkey is just a horse variant.
It's a small horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Ronnie said, alright, so yeah, I'm talking. Michael B., Pony Express riders would exchange horses frequently because they would ride them until they were exhausted.
Well, yeah.
And this is my point, you know, and certainly if you're in an official capacity, and as I say, adventurers often are, you know, you would ride between two certain way stations where you could change your horse. And I just think from a world building perspective, even if the players don't have access to it, that should exist in some of the taverns that the players come across. You know, they should see, I know, the Emperor's horses or King's horses or whatever you've got in your world. But oftentimes the players should have access to those horses as well, depending on what they're doing and who they're working for. And I just think that's a nice bit of world building, and it kind of removes some of the problems of adventuring with an animal. Where, you know, you forget about the fact that there's this big animal with you on your character sheet. So, Steve Ross, Lord of the Rings travel mainly on foot to avoid detection. Hobbit ponies fled from trolls in the Troll Shores. That's true, yeah. Well, the ponies... Did they fled or did they get eaten?
I thought they got eaten.
Yeah, I think they might have been eaten.
Yeah, but again, with the other characters, yes, the hobbits mainly didn't use horses to avoid detection, but then you've got... Again, Gandalf, you've got Aragorn, who used horses quite a lot because they wanted to fast travel their way around Middle-earth and stuff. And you've got the Rohirrim, who use horses all the friggin' time. The armies that came from there.
In a
and
country
stuff.
like Rohan, where they're literally referred to as the horse people, you'd expect the availability of horses to be very high. Yeah. And yet, you know, that seemed to not be the case.
One interesting observation was, like, when Rohan answered the call to aid for Gondor, of course they all rode on horseback, but
not in the books.
No, but in the movies they did that, and then before then, you know, when the main characters got to Rohan, there were like no horses anywhere. There were no horses. Like, why weren't they grazing or something?
Yes, but then this is a film that doesn't have farms outside of their cities.
True, yeah.
Especially Pelennor Fields. My word, what was going on there? Let's have a really convenient flat landscape for our CG artists to do this big battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
No farms necessary. It's only a city. It's fine. They must feed themselves out of rock or something.
Perfect fodder for trebuchets. And other stuff.
Scott says, I'd like to exchange this half-eaten saddle for a fresh horse, please. I think that's taken it to the extreme. Because I don't think anyone would be able to go up to... And I don't know what the correct term is. Is it a way station? Or... Because really it's just an inn that had horses. And you'd swap horse. Yeah. But I don't think that was necessarily available to everyone. I think you'd probably have to have papers or a chit or something. Fuke says, my last D&D game, I had a skeleton horse. Not trading that. Hell yes.
Skeleton horses are awesome.
Steve Ross says, not eaten Bilbo and dwarves got captured, but they managed to free the ponies first. You're right. They did. Yeah.
Well, I read the book when I was about 7, and I didn't pay much attention to the movies because I didn't think they were particularly good.
They were empirically bad, but I still watched them all fanatically. Ronnie says, a skeleton horse, Fuke? That's a great steed and no bones unburned.
The dad humour.
Scott Poe, a skeleton house sounds like a pain in I can't say that.
The dollars.
Yes. Steve Ross says Rohan horses were being stolen by orcs, so many were corralled away, according to Tolkien. Anyways, now that's a good point. So we didn't actually see orcs on horseback, so maybe they were just eating them.
Yeah, that's true. They
just had bull riders.
They used wargs.
Yes. Which, weirdly, when I was thinking about this the other day, because, well, actually a couple of weeks ago when I was painting miniatures, because Saruman bred, under the film law, Saruman made the Uruk-hai. I mean, in Tolkien law, there are Uruk-hai in Mordor as well. But so Saruman made the Uruk-hai. But the Warg Riders were goblins, which Tolkien didn't make a distinction between. And they were green-skinned in the movies.
I was under the impression that the wargs were a certain type of orc that sort of existed in like the Emnet.
I've always thought of wargs as actually the boar as being the warg.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So,
I see. The warg riders, I've seen them as orcs rather than goblins. The goblins were explicitly talked about in Moria. But even then, they don't look particularly different to orcs either, just a bit smaller.
In Tolkien's myth, goblin and orc is just a term he uses interchangeably.
Ah, yeah.
There is no difference. Really, it's in our modern fantasy where that divergence has happened, along with the green skin, because of course that wasn't a Tolkien thing at all. But that was because of a court case. So, Ronnie says you're... Oh, right, I'm going to skip past whatever he says there. Fuchs says, thanks for putting out good videos to Ronnie. Ronnie's... Okay, AJ says, as a Kiwi, I must automatically tut at anyone who doesn't love the Lord of the Rings movies. I love the Lord of the Rings movies.
Me too.
The Hobbit movies, however, I watched as a fanatical fan, didn't particularly love them. There's lots of problems with the way those movies are put together, and in fact with the way New Zealanders lost out over the filming with the Hobbit laws and stuff, and the way that misinformation came about, and how actors in New Zealand got a really raw deal thanks to the Hobbit. They actually called it the Hobbit law. The Prime Minister got involved with the Hollywood studios to save the deal and save the project, but you know. The result was the actors lost a lot of rights. So anyway, right. Steve Ross says Saruman's orcs were a cross of goblins and men, apparently. Hence, they could go about in strong daylight. Yes, indeed. Fuchs says, well, then I expect to be tutted at. Ages is like we may as well have
a ring on a flag.
Yes, and yes, I mean, yeah. Frankly, I think you may as well get rid of your old flag and just use the Lord of the Rings logo. And you'll have to pay the studios, but that seems to be a thing your government enjoys doing anyway. Ronnie says, yeah, I like the Lord of the Rings films far better than the Hobbit movies. And of course, who wouldn't? Steve says the first one was okay. Other two were wildly wide.
The song was quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, I still, they're okay. They're part of the Lord of the Rings thing, you know, but they just aren't as good.
No,
by any
the
stretch.
budget was far smaller as well.
Yeah, it wasn't 3 films. There are many issues. There's an interesting 4-part trilogy on YouTube about the Hobbit.
4-part trilogy?
Yes, it's kind of a joke within itself, because one of the problems of the Hobbit was that they kind of very late in the day decided to make it 3 films, and so she kind of does this thing in this video where she breaks down the problems with the film, and then there's a third part, you know. So, we need to stretch this out to another episode.
Peter Jackson had kind of learned from before, where he stretched the end of Return of the King out way too much. Like, when I watched it, like, for the first time in cinemas, there were people who were genuinely groaning, like, you could kind of hear everyone, like, hold their breath, right, is this the end? No, there's another scene.
Yeah, because by that point you really want a cigarette, you want to get out, you've seen the film, none of these endings matter now.
Nope.
Yeah, it was a film that didn't know how to end, that's for sure. AJ says, one flag to rule them all and in the darkness bind them. Nobody will expect it. The new Lord of the Rings TV series I am dreading.
Oh.
Isn't that Amazon doing
Amazon
that,
Prime, yeah.
Well, I'll try it, but...
Isn't it the Silmarillion, though?
Oh my word. I've tried to read the Silmarillion 4 times now. I can't do it. There's not a story there. So, yeah,
Like
I don't know.
Fantasy version of the Bible sort of thing. It's just...
I won't prejudge the TV series, but at the end of the day, a TV series and a film are very different things.
Yeah. Xena Warrior Hobbit.
Oh my god, it's not D&D, is it? I thought they went on to Star Wars to mess up Star Wars. I didn't think they'd gone to Lord of the Rings.
That makes sense because I believe the Star Wars TV series is on Amazon Prime as well, so that makes sense.
God, is there anything those guys won't screw up?
No wonder you're dreading it then.
Yeah.
I mean,
they ruined Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I was talking with my dad earlier, and he's all sweet and innocent because he just gets the DVDs from his library when they become available, and he still hasn't got season 8 yet, and I'm like, yeah, you won't like it. But he's determined to wait until it comes out in the library.
I've heard they have been dropped by Disney and Netflix snapped them up.
Right, okay.
It would make sense once Disney... Because Disney do know how to make a film, and when those idiots would have turned up, they'd have soon been worked out as idiots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Netflix are not running the Lord of the Rings thing, so there must be some incorrect fact there because it's Amazon Prime for the series. But anyway, we'll see. Yes, Xena Warrior. Well, I liked Xena. Xena was awesome. Xena was amazing. Gabrielle, of course, was my... Now, straw poll, audience, Xena or Gabrielle? Let's get the votes in. There is a correct answer.
As in, who have they heard of?
No, which one's...
I know.
You know. Star Wars cannot be playing out. Lord of the Rings probably can. Yeah, the new Star Wars series will be Disney's new streaming channel. Yeah, I'm not going to get Disney streaming channel. Why would I do that? I've got enough. Yeah, see, AJ's correct. Hands down.
Having said that, with Star Wars, I am looking forward to episode 9, and I'm fairly optimistic about it.
I'm going to see it. I will continue to see all the Star Wars films, but I am dreading it because it's J.J. Abrams.
Yes, but I think... Like, there are some bits I'm not sure about and quite skeptic, but there are some things I know that will tie in with the prequels, which I'm really excited about. And, like, the whole sort of mystique behind Palpatine and Darth Plagueis and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's an Isle of Man statement there from you.
There? You mentioned my country? I recently watched Robot Overlords. It was from the Isle of Man. The city and the countryside are very beautiful. It was a good pop culture. Well, I've not heard of Robot Overlords, but it's quite common nowadays that filmmakers go to the Isle of Man, mainly because far less tax to pay, with it being a tax haven, especially for filmmakers. But yeah, there's plenty of films, like the Alex Rider movie was filmed over there. It's really weird though watching it, because it jumps from one location to another, but they try and give the illusion that it's in the same place, and it's really weird and confusing.
Oh, because you know everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, that's like 20 miles away from there. So yeah, but it's cool. It's good to see that they're still making films over there.
I wonder, did you get the same problem there with Lord of the Rings film, AJ? Because like,
yeah, I bet.
I'm wondering if it's still the case because New Zealand is a much larger landmass. Therefore,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
does one bit of mountain, or are the mountains so recognisable to a New Zealander that you'd... They were in Rohan a moment ago, and now they're filming on the southern island. Like, you know, no, so it doesn't have that same experience of it. So I think that's a very islander problem.
Yeah, maybe. If you didn't realise there were standing stones on the Isle of Man, yes, very old standing stones, and Rome did not touch the Isle of Man, so it's all like really old pre-Celtic stuff with the little sort of etchy lines before runes came along. The Vikings came over and stuff, including this Dane dude. But yeah, there's loads of cool sort of standing stones and really old cairns and things around the island.
Cool.
Lots of old history.
AJ says New Zealand is a TARDIS, while Steve Ross says
I bet it is.
For him, it was World War Z that had this problem where Glasgow was spliced into American locations.
I never saw World War Z.
I think I may have watched it late one night and not paid it that much
sounds
attention,
really annoying.
But I've not been to Glasgow, so I wouldn't have...
I've been there once, so yeah, bits of it.
Not been to Scotland as often as I maybe should have, but...
Why? You're not Scottish?
I'm part Scottish.
Are you? Oh, oops. I thought you were part Welsh.
That too.
Ooh.
Different grandmother.
Ah.
I'm from all over the islands. I've even got some Irish in me. I'm very British rather than UK/English. Jayson, don't. World War Z is a terrible movie.
Okay.
If it's the one I'm thinking of where the guy's trying to save his family or something.
Yeah, it's Brad. I've seen the Star Wars. I've seen the South Park take on World War Z, where Cartman is Brad Pitt all blonde and he has breakfast with his family and then they all get taken away from him and it's so terrible. I didn't understand it really.
Yeah, it wasn't a film that really takes much thinking, if I recall. Silliest example of filming in different locations was an episode of Rebus where it's set in Edinburgh, but there is a scene that was clearly filmed in Glasgow, doubling for Edinburgh. I think
it could be worse. They could have done like World War Z and gone from Scotland to America to China.
But I mean, I have been to Edinburgh, and obviously, there are certain parts of Edinburgh that are very distinctively Edinburgh.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of it is just it's the same as any shitty council estate. So it depends what parts they're taking, really. But I suppose if you're familiar with both cities, then you would definitely see things, out of context, and that will break the immersion for you. But it's like even when we did our little tiny film, the Old Ones Leitmotif, we were filming in one place and substitute, like the graveyard was the local nature reserve, and continuity in terms of how scenes connect was quite strange when you think about where we filmed them.
You think that was bad? When I took part in a short...
that was only like 5 scenes, that movie.
Yeah. When I was up in uni, I did a short film, and basically the house I was living in at the time didn't really have an upstairs. It was kind of like a mezzanine with this small room with a door that we didn't ever use, which is like storage, because it was always super hot in there. So we had to kind of make the illusion of this is a closed room, and another character has to come into the room and see me playing video games. And it's like, how the fuck are we going to do that on a mezzanine? But somehow we managed to do it. And then there was a scene we had to eat dinner together in one room, and then we had to, at the end, be sort of on sofas and stuff in another room, but again, because mezzanine up top, open plan at the bottom. So that was really hard to get the angles right, and we spent a lot of time trying to do that. But yes. F. Aaron Carthy says, are you going to do something special for your viewers for Halloween? I'd like to, but I've not planned anything. I'm kind of holding my breath for all the politics at the moment happening around Halloween, potentially.
Yes. We could do a farewell video for Britain. Give it a good send-off.
Well, if we actually leave, which it sounds like we probably aren't going to be on the 31st, but we still don't know yet.
We don't know what's happening.
No.
Apparently a deal's been agreed, but the DUP don't like it.
Yeah.
But now they like it, but maybe they won't, but possibly. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
And also, on the 31st, I've got a work due.
So is that a Friday, is it?
Thursday.
No, we don't go live on Thursday anyway.
No, that's true, but, for Halloween.
So all I can say about October the 31st in this country is please send help.
Yes.
Preferably in the form of politicians. Just don't send Trump.
Oh,
So
you
even he
fuck
couldn't make it worse. Why should I be hopeful for Star Wars Episode 9 when the previous 2 movies felt like tumbling down a hill then off a cliff? I have to see Episode 9, but I'm not looking forward to it. I enjoyed Episode 8. I didn't enjoy Episode 7.
Well, Episode 7 to me was very safe.
It's too safe and boring and predictable.
Yeah,
and
extremely predictable.
And just rubbish.
Just a clone of Episode 4, but not quite as good, but with better effects. With Episode 8, I really loved seeing it first time. I thought it was different in a good way. And yeah, people have got points about, okay, why did this happen? Why did they kind of backtrack this? And the director's attitude kind of felt a bit like, what? Where he was like, yeah, sometimes I like to just do stuff that made people raise their eyebrows and things. It's like, yeah, this was not the time to do it.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of people like one of the most problematical scenes is that whole casino stretch.
Yeah.
But the one thing I took away from that is, you know what? It was actually really nice to see a movie where for once the heroes didn't win.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it turned out that wasn't the way to solve it. And it wasn't in a you learned from it and now you can win way. It was a no, that turned out to literally not matter. You were wrong.
I think that's
Your
why
heroes failed.
I think that's why people didn't like it, because if you've got the mentality of, oh yeah, that it has to be worth something because it's time invested, and the fact they just watched that thing and it didn't seem to matter, and they were like, oh, but no, no. But yeah, that I liked that, and they didn't work, and as Steve Ross said, Empire Strikes Back.
Which I missed that.
The latest one.
Oh. What about it? Do not fault the greatest movie of all time. Sorry, say again. What?
Well, I'm wondering if Steve is maybe comparing it to The Last Jedi in the Empire Strikes Back. You kind of, the good people are losing.
Yes, the good people are losing, but for plot purpose.
Yeah.
Right. They get kicked off the moon. For Hoth. But it's continuous story.
Yeah.
And it matters to the plot line. You could remove Canto Bar, whatever it's called, Canto Bite.
Bite, yes.
And not do it, and the story could still happen. This was an expedition. It was a mission. Canto Bite was a mission that failed. It's kind of like it was part of what happened. And I have issue with the way he disrespected the orders and.
Oh yeah, that was annoying. Yeah.
And.
Like, it came across as just really obnoxious.
Yeah, and some people put the blame on Admiral Holdo for not speaking, and the fact that the film really didn't make its point properly in that regard didn't help. Yeah. But I watched it and thought, why is... This is just the common movie trope that happens at a lot of movies and a lot of TV series, is everything would actually be fine if only the characters talked. And... Hollywood kind of relies too much on characters not talking to each other to carry some of its action. And I just wanted to punch him at that moment. Yeah. So maybe I'm just a bit weird in that front.
Well,
but
I think in some ways, the fact that Canto Bight felt so meaningless in the end made the actions of those in the ships more desperate, which then made it more kind of dramatic, like the Admiral deciding to hyperspace her way into the ship,
which I didn't see as problematical in rewriting.
No, I loved that. I loved that.
I thought it was a great effect.
Although some people were like, "Oh, what happened to the sound?" It's like that's the point, because they want the effect, and yeah. But yeah.
Steve Ross says 7 and 8 were terrible and full of holes. 9 won't be any better. Yeah, see, I enjoyed 8 for what it was. I liked it.
Go on, sorry.
Wasn't overly keen on Leia doing the whole floating pointy thing.
No, that was kind of weird.
Floating E.T.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
And it just seemed it would have been far more poignant and sensible to have killed the character at that point.
Yeah. But I agree that what's his face? Not J.J. Abrams, the other guy. Ed Sheeran lookalike, has kind of, in some instances, taken Star Wars off on a weird tangent, which now J.J. Abrams has to kind of, with the help of George Lucas, patch up, which I agree isn't great, because they have to kind of reel it back in or something.
Not really. It was...
Well, they do, in terms of things like canon, like, say, with Luke dying, for example, it's like, oh, does that mean he's a ghost, or does it mean this, or... What does this mean for...
No, it's introduced the most important point of all that everyone seems to have missed, and that there should be no Jedi. Because if light always rises to meet the dark, then dark always rises to meet the light. And that was Luke's error. And that's why Luke shut himself off from the Force. And everybody seems to have not picked up on that. Because they're expecting good to win. But literally, George Lucas's point is that good can't win.
I'm still a bit confused.
Right, you know how light rises to meet the dark? So whenever dark rises, the light will rise too.
Yes.
Right? Well, it works the other way round. Force is about balance.
Yes.
So Luke is saying there should be no Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we won't have the evil to rise.
Ah, okay. Right.
And that's why he shut himself off from the Force. And that's... that was the point of episode 8, to remind us of this really important point, and it was emphasised all through the film, the whole thing with Rey's fight that people have a real issue with the choreography on, but, frankly, I saw Ben Kenobi fighting Darth Vader. I mean, choreography's come a long way.
Yeah.
I don't care that there was a move or two that wasn't as good as some other movie. Anyway... so Fugue says, my issue with episode 8 is stupid military leaders on both sides. Well, yes, if you're going to judge any film on its battle sequences, then there are no good films. I get angry at all of them. Ronnie says, I agree that the ultimate way to defeat the Sith is for the Jedi to cease. I thought that moment of episode 8 worked. I think you're one of the few people to have picked up on that, because I think... And this might be different for POG viewers, because maybe it is, I don't know. But I think that a lot of people, certainly in the way they responded to episode, really had problems with that. It's like, no, Luke should have been a Mary Sue going off killing everything.
Which is funny, because they look at Rey and go, oh, it's a Mary Sue, oh, she hasn't got any flaws.
So, yeah. No, I thought it was good for what it was. Was it a perfect film? No. Do I score it 10 out of 10? No. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Do I have issue with Canterbite? No. Not conceptually. Still Star Wars. It's got stupid little things in it. It's supposed to be funny, and a moment when you're like, why is this trying to be funny? But that's Star Wars. It always has been.
But with the whole light, like dark rising up to meet the light and all that stuff, you're right. I see that now. Yeah, great. Why then did they have that child at the end use the Force to make the broom come towards him to indicate he's going to grow up to be a Jedi? And it kind of killed the whole point it was trying to make.
So, Steve and Ronnie don't agree. Light will never entirely defeat the dark, and so should remain to watch and defend against dark's return. Yeah, well, I think you're wrong, Steve. Like, if the Force will balance, so if you get rid of the light, then you'll get rid of the Empress. No, that doesn't necessarily solve the political situation of the First Order, but if you can get rid of the Sith that are behind it all, then maybe it'll collapse in on itself.
I'm glad I'm not being banished for hating episode 8.
No, of course not.
Why?
You're allowed to hate episode 8, just means you're wrong.
Loads of people hate episode 8.
I'm used to people being wrong.
This is the kind of the whole point, that we're all nerds and we all have different opinions on what we like, and we talk about it.
Are we massively off track? Oh, hugely.
All right, Chav Hunter. We know. We were talking about horses.
Oh. I think.
But, actually, I thought the Star Wars thing was quite relevant, because the trailer is supposed to be out by now, and it's not. It's a bit late.
Was it?
Yes, yeah, it's supposed to be a final trailer, but it's late. I mean, if we want to go massively off tangent, I want to talk about all the metal albums that have come out and how amazing they are, but no.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to watch any Star Wars trailers though, because I feel like the Rogue One trailer, which was one of the best Star Wars films ever made, but that trailer lied.
Yeah.
Because of all the reshoots. You know, I was really waiting for that TIE fighter moment, and it wasn't there, and I was like kind of gutted. Because that was just looked epic. And they hadn't done something like that before.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in there. But it was still one of the, I would put it right up there with Episode 5 as amongst my favourite Star Wars films. It's between Rogue One and Episode 5. And Rogue One was awesome, especially that bit at the end with Darth Vader.
Yeah, my God.
Oh my god.
Oh my God. Just jaw-dropping, like...
Yeah. You know,
Yes.
people hate on the Solo movies, but at least it wasn't Episode 7.
Yeah.
I'm kind of gutted they aren't doing all the other Star Wars
I didn't
ones.
like the ending of Solo, like that final sort of scene. I didn't like it that much, but I thought it was okay.
Solo could have been literally any cyberpunk adventure ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't feel Star Warsy in that respect, whereas Rogue One did.
No.
But yeah, I enjoyed it as a generic sci-fi film.
Oh, Fuka's asking me, what is just one Isle of Man metal band that I need in my life? I don't know. The Manx people are not really metalheads, which may sound quite surprising, because you have a few metal bands in Ireland which are good, plenty in the UK, and folk metal is a big thing in Europe, but Isle of Man, no, not really. Unless you count the band I used to be in, and there aren't really any that I know of. So, lots of folk bands, but not folk metal or other types of metal. No.
Right. I haven't... We're so far off the tangent.
We're so far off
now.
the tangent.
I think all I'm going to do now, if
Yes.
this is right with you, is I'm just going to put up Prizefighter and say goodnight. Okay. Alright guys, it's been a pleasure chilling this post-convention relaxation video. So for now, I'm going to leave you with a nice sort of shot of
People's chat.
Yeah, well, of our Colosseum from above. How about that?
La la. And the water's outside it, that makes no sense.
No, it's not. That's the skybox. Look.
Oh, right. Okay.
There is no outside. It's just, yeah. That won't be a view that's in the final thing.
It's an illusion.
Take care, guys. Sweet dreams.
Bye.
We will see you next Friday, where we'll probably return to more role-playing-y content.
Yes.
Rather than talking about movies and conventions and showing computer games. So have a great week. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.